Welcome to part two. We're discussing real property versus non-realty or personal property. So we discussed some of the common items like refrigerators, washers, and dryers that are not considered real property. So they need to be requested if the buyer wants to keep them, because the seller would be entitled to take them with them. Now we get into some other areas where it can sometimes get a little bit gray, and there's two tips that I share with my clients. One is think about nails versus screws. So if something is nailed into the wall, like artwork you see here, that's personal property. That's easy to take off the walls. You can spackle the holes, and it's no big deal, versus something screwed into the wall like this TV. Now, the TV itself is personal property. The seller is entitled to take that with them. However, the mount that's screwed to the wall is now attached to the home and now has become real property. Same with that little floating shelf. So if the seller wants to take that shelf or that TV mount, they need to let the buyer know by excluding it. And if you as the buyer, you want that mount to stay, you want to put your TV there, you need to make sure that that's understood, because if the seller removes it and leaves holes in the wall, you're going to be upset. Now, some other little areas that people may not always think of is, let's say, this trampoline. Let's say, it's kind of big, but it's not that hard to remove. And if you take it away, you wouldn't necessarily know it was there. So if as a buyer, you want that trampoline to stay, you're going to need to request it on a non-realty items addendum. On the other hand, if you have a trampoline like this that's built into the ground, there's now a hole underneath there. If the seller were to remove that, you've got this gaping hole in the yard. So this trampoline is part of the real property. It's kind of attached to the land. So the seller would need to tell you that they're going to remove it by excluding it. You wouldn't necessarily have to ask for this on a non-realty items addendum. However, one thing I'll always say, if you're in doubt, and you want something to stay and you're not sure if the seller's going to take it, request it on a non-realty items addendum. Tell your agent to attach that. And if you're a seller and you want to remove something but you're not sure because it's kind of like, is it attached, like this artwork, whatever, ask your agent. And if you're not sure, just exclude it. And the buyer may still ask for it. Everything's negotiable, but just make sure there's a clear understanding so that there's no confusion when the buyers go to close and they do their final walkthrough. They're not wondering, hey, where did this stuff go that we thought stayed with the home? If you have any questions, leave me a comment, send me an email, or message me, and keep watching at Nicole and HTX to learn more about the real estate process.